Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Got our friend Felicia Cravens on, contributor over at usdailyreview.com, the sister news website of this station. And she is also with the Free Radical Network.com and also the Princess of Pandemonium. And so she's involved in all kinds of things, and delighted to get her on every chance we can on The Price of Business. How are you today?
Good. I am writing this down. Princess of Pandemonium.
There you go.
I want that title.
That's a great title, isn't it? When I thought of all the best titles I could give you, that came up. You know, there's a certain sweetness to it, but a lot of attitude.
I'm adding it to my Twitter profile pronto.
Goodbye, something fishy. It's now the Princess of Pandemonium. Trouble is, it takes about half of your 140 characters.
I know. Awful.
Maybe I have to change it to Pandemonium Princess. But anyway, tell us about what have you been watching? What are you seeing out there that's caught your eye on the news front?
Oh, well, of course, everything this week has been Obamacare website launch, healthcare.gov with its miserable failure, and how amusing that is. But what I found really interesting, I mean, we saw the president go on television and have to try to explain it. A lot of the people on Twitter were saying, well, we didn't expect him to come on and say, hey, it works, to be the sham wow guy. They expected him to come on and say, we're going to get this fixed. Nobody's angrier than me about this not working. We're going to get on it. We're going to, no, it was excuses. And then what happened later, Matt Walsh, who writes a blog, just from the right perspective, had solicited stories of people who were losing coverage and who were having their hours cut back, and how Obamacare's unintended consequences were coming home to really hit Americans very hard. And he's asked people to write in and send these stories. The main thing I think needs to happen now is everyone needs to go check out what their insurance is doing, post a picture of yourself with a sign on it on social media, and get the word out there, how it's killing American families, how it's destroying their finances, how people that already have coverage are now going to lose it. That's the story of the week. How miserable this failure of the website is. It's just a small fraction of the big failure that Obamacare is as it's being implemented, and even before most of it takes effect. Yeah,
no question about it. It's an unmitigated disaster. What did I hear? I heard Alaska had 7 people sign up.
Oh, my stars.
I heard an entire state, maybe it was Montana, couldn't get anyone signed up.
Ooh.
So it's just incredible. It really is. And we paid over $50 million for the website, and we paid it to a Canadian company at that, who, by the way, the CEO of it contributed to the Obama campaign.
Oh, of course. And
yeah.
I talked to some programmers and asked a couple of questions just casually, people that I know that work on large website projects for, say, mortgage design, mortgage company things that you have to know a whole bunch of pieces to put together into a site. And they say just taking component parts of a site takes a long time to design if you want to make sure that all the things are working properly. But with all these exchanges having to feed information in, with this website having to pull tables and data, and then also be able to do more than, say, a campaign website that's just taking the money and your contact information, that people knew for ages that this was not going to be ready in time, and they launched anyway. And you got to wonder, why did they go ahead and push for launch knowing this thing was going to crash?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes you wonder, it seemed like it would have actually been strategically viable for Obama to say, you know what, this delay like we've done for business owners, that does make sense to individuals, not only on the principle that we should treat individuals with the same dignity that he treats his crony friends in business, but because of the fact they weren't even ready for it. They were going to be caught with their pants down, which he may get a kick out of that. I don't know.
It makes no sense unless the point was not to give in to Republicans, or to be seen to give in to Republicans in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was I think it was a lot of pressure from the very, very hard left that it would have a ruinous impact on him if he had waited. The reality is that it would have probably helped him save face.
I think so. And what an embarrassing position to have to be in, to stand up and give an 800 number on television, about how to find Obamacare exchange information. And then once you get those people on the phone, they're operating under the same system that you can't access anyway from your computer.
Yeah.
So what makes that work any better?
Exactly. So, everyone's been doing this inventory, who's the winners, who's the losers. Everyone seems to be saying that that everybody lost. There were no winners. That was the president's comment. That was Boehner's comment, although Boehner kind of implied that the president came out ahead compared to him. But are there winners and losers, and if so, how is that sized up?
Oh, on the website?
No. Just on the battle of the shutdown and the the battle on both the shutdown and the raising the debt ceiling.
The people who are government skeptics and pushing that message are, I think, the only people who won at all.
People like you and me.
Yeah, the people who
we kicked derriere, Dane Abbott. No, I agree with that. I think it's a pretty potent comment to be able to say that 17% of government was not in operation and nobody noticed.
Well, we actually did a video at Free Radical Network about the shutdown, the different things that got shut down, and the sort of stupidity that was behind it. And we pushed that message out about the White House being responsible, and that this is, what happens when government gets too big is they can start, closing things off to you that are really ridiculous just to make the point that government was too big. And I think that message, the harder it hits, you look at the people that want to run your health care and this website, they can't even do that. How are they going to handle you when you're in the hospital? Those questions are great to be asking, and skeptics like us, we need to keep pushing because I think we're the only ones moving the needle in our direction.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wholeheartedly. The thing about it is they didn't kick this football very far at all. So what happens next?
Well, goodness, they keep saying that they're going to have to, retool this website and whatever. But I think that the smart move, I don't know if this is what's going to happen, but the smart move is for conservatives everywhere to be collecting those stories, telling the heartbreaking losses of coverage, people who have been on insurance and taken care of, their own business for ages, and now they have to cut back on, all sorts of things just to be able to avoid paying penalties. If you did the math on so many of these people, if they just paid the penalties instead of paid in premiums and then their deductibles, they'd come out ahead. People need to be able to be showing that math. And I'm hopeful that the GOP and other big liberty orgs are going to do that. That is what I'm working to encourage them to do. When I got all these stories last night, I started sharing the articles around as many places as I could just to put them in the hands of not just people that I knew, but influential Hollywood folks that I happen to be connected to through social media, but also elected officials.
Yeah. All right. FreeRadicalNetwork.com. That's where you get more information about Felicia. She's also at USDailyReview.com. What's the name of your video?
It is They Shut Down What?
They Shut Down What? And you can find it over there at Free Radical Network.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for being with us as always.
Thanks, Kev.
All right, when we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you the best content here shows up over there at USDailyReview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. Stay tuned for more right after this.